sync with everybody else. Great thing about myself and Kawhi, you know, it doesn't matter. We're going to play basketball. We're going to, you know, try to make the right plays and play off one another and just keep the game flowing. So I thought in that aspect, we were good.
There were three duos we were looking at, focused on coming into the season. The one with the Lakers, the one in Brooklyn, and the one with the Clippers. We haven't seen the one in Brooklyn yet, and we hadn't seen the one with the Clippers yet. Last night was your first, albeit a small sample size. Do you think this is the best duo in the NBA?
And I would maybe add a fourth to it with Harden and Westbrook.
With Harden and Westbrook, correct.
And which came together obviously after these two. It was after, because Paul George left, they ended up trading Russell Westbrook. They have the ability to be the second best duo in basketball. They at full strength, they can be better than Harden and Westbrook. They can be better than Giannis and Chris Middleton. I know Middleton's missed the last week or so. They can be better than Luka and maybe whoever the hell the second best player on that team is right now. Should be Kristaps. Hasn't necessarily been so far. I don't think at their best they can be better than LeBron and Anthony Davis. I know some people disagree. They think the two-way ability of those two guys, it's a wing league. Having two of the best wing defenders in basketball can change that. I'd go LeBron and AD. But I understand at their best it could be an argument. The problem is, this is not a discussion with the version of Kawhi Leonard we've seen since Halloween, and I don't know what's going on. Listen, I was highly critical of Kawhi that he started load managing the fourth game of the season. I thought it was ridiculous. It's October 30th, and he's already taking the game off. Then the 8th game, he takes a game off. Then he misses another game, and Paul George still isn't back. And they need these wins. Like, the Western Conference is stacked. It's not, Raptors were 17-5 without him last year in the 22 he missed. And he was coming off an injury, but they also could sustain it. Clippers were 0-3. But then he missed 3 games in a row. And then you saw him last night. And Sarah, he played, they did his minutes the way they'd been doing them throughout the year, which is very light for the first 3 quarters. Yep. So he can be the freshest guy on the court in the fourth and take us home. And he couldn't do it. He was, in the fourth quarter in overtime, 2 of 7 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, scored 4 points, had 1 rebound, 1 assist. And I know he had the great block at the end, but on the 2 possessions prior, he fell asleep on an inbounds play and Tatum got a dunk, and then he let Marcus Smart take the ball from him. Since Halloween, Kawhi Leonard shooting 35% from the field, 22% from 3, and has missed 4 games. Something's wrong with him. And until we figure out, is that temporary, is that long-term, what is going on, to me, the Clippers aren't in the discussion for best duos in basketball, as great as Paul George was last year and as great as he's been this year, because they're not getting a top 10 player Kawhi Leonard. They're getting a question mark in Kawhi Leonard.
And you nailed it, because we don't know the version of Kawhi Leonard we're going to see this season, and we didn't know the version of Paul George that would come back, and he's been tremendous, but it's been a couple games. Last night was the first opportunity we had to see these two players playing together, and as you mentioned, they were staggering their minutes at that, so they weren't always on the floor together. Now, I would say, generally speaking, big picture, considering the fact that we are still in November, and what matters most is once you get to the postseason, I do believe this could be a discussion, because you can never have enough big wings defensive. You bring the two-way ability. I mean, 2 of the best perimeter defenders, ability to shoot a 3, create for themselves. We don't need to get into this now, but I do think their argument will be boosted by the fact of those they're surrounded by. However, when you're coming down to a duo, who is the best duo? Without a doubt, to me right now, it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And whether you want to look at the numbers, whether you want to go by the eye test, whether you want to go by record of their team and how they're playing, all of those factors stack up in their favor. And I think right now, given what you're saying, even the health component, which always is a factor in this league and what you anticipate them to do, they're winning out in all of those.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're not the best duo in the NBA right now. That's Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And you made a point earlier saying that you would argue Paul George is even better than Kawhi Leonard.
Right now, yeah.
Right now. And I would agree with that. And that's what makes this duo so intriguing to me. The ability of Paul George to just elevate his game across the board, defensively, offensively, and give you whatever is necessary. And because we don't know what we're going to get with Kawhi Leonard. I love Kawhi Leonard. I love what he brings when he does decide to bring it. And I feel like what he provides defensively will always be there. But to say that they're the best duo, that's a stretch, because when I look at Anthony Davis and what he can do both on defense and offense, play the 4, play the 5, play the 3 if he wants to. LeBron can play 1 through 5. They just can do too much, and they offer so much for their team both ways. There's no way that this duo will, even at their best, be better than Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
Well, and that's why I think it will hopefully become a discussion because of I would like to hope for our sake, for basketball fans' sakes, improving health of Kawhi Leonard, because this is a perimeter-dominated league. This is a pick-and-roll dominated league. There's so much switching that happens on the defensive end that I feel like with the versatility those two guys bring, that could be a factor down the line. But at this point, I think it's too early to even say.
And of the 4 players in Los Angeles, the 4 superstars in LA, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard, last season, Paul George, the only one that played more than 60 games. He was the only one who was top 3 in the MVP. He was the one who last year had the best year. LeBron was hurt. Anthony Davis' season went awry with the trade demand that then ended up sitting him. And Kawhi sat for 22 games. Now, obviously, Kawhi had the best postseason of anybody. LeBron and AD didn't get there. Paul George's was brief, and Kawhi was sensational. So no one's denying that. But Paul George, I was worried about him. Double shoulder surgery ain't nothing. And he's come back and he's averaging more than a point a minute. He's averaging 28 points in 27 minutes, 55%, I think, 53% from the field, and around 45% from 3. He's been sensational. Him elevating his play to this level, or really just picking up where he left off last season, this quickly, would make this a discussion. Because I think a lot of people, if they were like, well, LeBron and Kawhi are a wash, which I didn't feel, but a lot of people did, well, Anthony Davis so much better than Paul George. That hasn't been the case. The issue for the Clippers is what is going on with Kawhi. It is, to me, the biggest question in the NBA right now because it's not load managing when you miss a week. The last time he played was the game prior to last night, the game we talked about last Wednesday when he and Harden went head-to-head. And when in that game, they were load managing him within the game. They're playing a zone defense. He's guarding P.J. Tucker in the corner when they're in man-to-man. Something ain't right. And he said coming into the year, healthiest I've been. The injury issues behind me, that is clearly not the case. That, to me, is the biggest story in the NBA right now.
All right, we got to take a break. Sarah, stick around. Coming up, will LeBron win his 4th MVP this year? That's next. This is First Things First.
Well, the biggest...
What is going on, guys?
It's a great morning.
It's a great morning to have a great morning. And we got some great football to preview today, but we've got to start with some great basketball to review after last night. Best team in the East, the Boston Celtics, facing the Clippers. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard making their debut as a tandem. Got going early. Kawhi finds PG, who hits the 3. Paul George at 25. Just over 3 minutes left. Kawhi drives, throws it down on Daniel Tice. 2 of his 17 on the night. All right, 15 seconds to go in regulation. Celtics down by 3. Jason Tatum. And that's good for 3. We're tied at 97. This one goes to overtime. In OT, under 2 ticks to go. Celtics down 3. Kemba's shot is blocked by Kawhi. Clippers hold on to win 107-104. So the big duo didn't dominate, but they got the win. Here's Paul George after the game.
I thought it was good. You know, I thought defensively that came natural, that came easy. And then offensively, I thought we were great. I thought we are still trying to get in sync with everybody else. Great thing about myself and Kawhi, you know, it doesn't matter. We're going to play basketball. We're going to, you know, try to make the right plays and play off one another and just keep the game flowing. So I thought in that aspect, we were good.
A lot of storylines in this one, but of course all eyes were on Kawhi and Paul George, who were playing their first game together. Yep. They haven't had much practice together at all. Before we get to how they looked last night, are these two the best duo in the NBA right now?
At full strength, at their best, if you're going to get a full-strength Kawhi Leonard and a full-strength Paul George, I still don't think that's the best duo in basketball. I think it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and I think Harden and Russ, if Russ can get back to anywhere close to pre-Rocket Russ, they would be in the conversation as well. But right now, with whatever's going on with Kawhi Leonard, and I don't know what's going on with Kawhi Leonard, to me it's not even a discussion. You can't have... The reason they would be in the discussion for the best duo in basketball is